Here we go, more fun with fractions. This is actually our final lesson on multiplying fractions. So grab your supplies and meet me right back here. This one today. So I have 2 1/4, but I just want half of a group of my 2 1/4. Now I wonder if we can estimate this. So if we estimate it, can you imagine if I have 2 1/4 and just want half of that? About what would it be? Actually, let me ask you this first. Will my answer be more than 2 or less than 2? Yeah, it'll be less than 2, right? Because I just want a half of it. So if we think of this as 2 1/4, let's see, here we have 2, and let me grab a 1/4 here. Okay. And I just want half of it. We think, well, if I break this in half, this might be a little bit trickier, but we could say in each group, I have approximately 1, right? And half of 2 is 1, okay? So now, is it gonna be a little bit more than 1 or less than 1? Yep, if I have 1 1/4 in one group and 1 in another group, and I'm gonna try to split this, some will go in here and some will go in there. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more than 1, but I think our estimate of 1 is great. So I would suggest when you're multiplying a mixed number with a fraction, try to estimate it first. Then you'll know once you get your answer whether you're on track or not. We're gonna draw this one out. So I'm gonna first start with my 2 1/2. And I'm gonna show 2 1/4. Now, I have more than 2 whole units, so I'm gonna actually break my bar up into 3 whole units, okay? And again, I'm gonna come through my bar model like this. Do you remember why? Yeah, I want it to really be obvious that this right here is 1 whole, okay? Now I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, plus a 1/4 of this one. So what do you think I'm gonna break each of my wholes up into? Yeah, 4th pieces. So let's break each whole up into 4. So there's 4, 4. 4 more 4s, so that's 2 wholes. And then I have a 4th over here, don't I? Okay, now I'm gonna color them in because I'm just working with 1. There's 1 whole. Here is 2 wholes and 1/4, okay? There we go, there's my 2 1/4. Now how much of it do I want? Just half of it. So I'm just gonna split it in half. I only want half of it, okay? And I'm gonna circle my half, which is just gonna be this top line right here, which is gonna be my half. Okay? Now, by drawing it out like this, can you see what my numerator is gonna be? And my numerator, again, is gonna be the ones that are both red and yellow. Now, before we even go there, as I have my 2 1/4, can I write this as an improper fraction? Yeah, my 2 wholes equal how many 1/4 pieces? 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 fourths, plus my 1 extra 4th is 9 fourths. So I am gonna write 9 fourths times my 1/2, okay? This is gonna help us make the connection to our model here. All right, so again, the red and the yellow, let's count for our numerator first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. What's 9 times 1? 9. Okay, now my denominator, remember, what do we go back to for our denominator. We always go back to the one whole. That's why I made it really clear right here that this section is my one whole. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's 4 times 2? 8. If I have 9 eighths, can I change that back into a mixed number? Yeah, it does equal 8 eighths plus 1 eighth, right? That is 9 eighths. And my 8 eighths we know equals 1 whole plus my 1 eighth left over. Great job. Let's jump into a number story now. So Mary has $48 in total. She spent 1/3 of her money to buy a wallet and 3/4 of the remainder on a phone charger. How much more did the phone charger cost than the wallet? So again, I have my answer statement already written out. The phone charger costs blank more than the wallet. All right, who and what are we talking about? We're talking about Mary. She has $48 and she spent a fraction of her money to buy a wallet, a fraction of the money to buy a phone charger, and we want to find this difference of cost between the charger and the wallet. So let's start with a bar model, and I would love for you to draw this one out with me. So let's do a long bar model here. Okay. Now our bar model here is going to represent the money that Mary has in all, okay? So this is how much does Mary have? Right, $48. Okay. So next, what we know is that she spent 1/3 of her money to buy a wallet. So 1/3 of the money. So what would we break our bar model up into? Thirds, right? Okay. And 1/3 right here would be what she spent on her wallet. Okay. So we can do this a couple different ways. We can think of it, well, I have 48 units here. And if I divide it by 3, I'm going to learn what is in each unit. So 48 divided by 3, why don't you work on that at home? Pause the video if you need to, and then jump back on. Great, so you probably discovered that 48 divided by 3 is 16. Okay, so we can write 16 in here, right? Each of them would be 16. Now, as we're working with fractions, another way to look at this is, what is $48 but 1/3 of it, right? I had $48, but I just want 1/3 of it. So both of these expressions work to find out how much the wallet cost. Now, this part right here represents our remainder, doesn't it? So this is the remainder. And I'm going to actually bring our remainder down just as we see it up there. Okay, so our remainder, and it has a line broken in half. See how I just brought that down? Now we know that she spent 3/4 of the remainder on a phone charger. So now we're working with fourths. I have 1/2 and 1/2. Can I break this all up into fourths? I can, can't I? Now, can you see I have 4 pieces, and 3 out of 4 was on a phone charger. Now, I can look at my 16, right? This unit was 16, but if I broke it in half, now how much would be in each unit? Great, 8. Same with this over here, right? Okay. And 3 out of 4 of them was the phone charger. So let's write phone charger down here. Okay. Now we can also look at this as if we broke these up in half too, right? And this would be $8. This would be $8. Right? Each of them could represent this $8. Now, our phone charger, we would do our $8 times 3 units, 1, 2, 3, which would give us 24. Right? So the 24 would be our phone charger. I'll put PC for phone charger. Our 16 up here would be our wallet. Oop. Now, what would be our final step? Yeah, we need to find the difference, right? We need to know how much more the phone charger is than the wallet. So we take our phone charger of $24, subtract our wallet. What would we get? 8. So the phone charger costs $8 more than the wallet. Now, you could have even done something like this. Instead of $8 times 3, you also could have gone, well, I know I need 3/4 of the remainder, which is 8 times 4, right? 32, or 16 plus 16, right, is the remainder. So that would be 32. You could have worked it out like this, and you still would have gotten $24 for our phone charger. So there are different ways you could have pieced this together, and this is just a couple of them. All right, here we go with another number story. So in an album, there are 336 stamps. 4/7 of the stamps are US stamps, and the rest are Canada and China stamps. There are half as many Canada stamps as US stamps. How many more US stamps than China stamps are there? This is going to be a multi-step problem. Now, again, I have my answer statement here first. There are blank more US stamps than China stamps. Who or what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about stamps, US stamps, Canada stamps, and China stamps. So again, we are going to start with a model. I don't know about you, but I really need to visually see what's going on here. So our model is going to start long, and it's going to be our total number of stamps. So how many stamps do we have? Great. We have 336 altogether, don't we? All right. Now, we do know that 4/7 of these stamps are US stamps. So what might we break our model up into? 7s. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, let me count, make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. All right, how many out of the 7 are US stamps? 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These right here are US stamps. Now, at this point, we could figure out how many stamps are in each unit. So if we took our 336 and we divided it by the number of units, which is 7, we could discover what is in each unit, couldn't we? So go ahead and do this work at home. What's 336 divided by 7? Hopefully you two got 48. So I'm going to plug in my 48 in each of these units. That'll help me know how many US stamps we have. Okay. Now we have these remaining stamps, and we did learn that the rest are Canada and China stamps. So these right here, oh, let me get a new pen here. These right here are not US. These are Canada and China stamps. Okay. Now, our next step is that we do know that there are half as many Canada stamps as US stamps. So we could first find out how many US stamps we have. So if we did that, we would take our 48 and multiply it by 4 to give us how many? Yes, that would give us 192. So this represents our US stamps right here. Okay. Now, if there are half as many Canada stamps as US stamps, how many Canada stamps would we have? Well, we could take half of our 192, can't we? So either 192 divided by 2 or half of our 192. So if we took that 192 and multiplied it by a half, what would be a half of it? Hopefully you got 96. So Canada has 96 stamps. How might that information help us? Yeah, we could think of it, well, if Canada has 96 stamps, US has 192, we could add these two together, which let's do that right now. If we added our 192 and our 96 together, I'm just gonna put a line down here and add these two numbers together, we should get 288. So 288 of the stamps are US stamps and Canada stamps. Now, we do have 336 of them in all. So what if I took my in all 336 and subtracted my 288? What would I get? Did you get 48 too? Yeah, so the rest would be 48. So these must be my China stamps, right? And my question is, how many more US stamps than China stamps are there? So now I need to take my US stamps, which are 192, and I'm going to subtract my China stamps, which are 48, and I should get 144. So we discovered that there are 144 more US stamps than China stamps. Now we could have also used our model in a different way too. Besides working it out like we did over here, there's another method also. Now I'm going to bring my China and Canada stamps down here. All 1, 2, 3 units. Now, by knowing that there are half as many Canada stamps as US stamps, so if there's half as many, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of US stamps. So Canada would just be half of 4, which is 2, right? So I could look at this and go, well, these right here are my Canada stamps. Yep, you got it. Then it would be easy to find out which stamps were my China stamps, which would be right here. And then I could take this information, my 192 US stamps, and subtract my 48 China stamps from it to get my 144 down here. There's so many ways to work through this. These are just a couple of them, but I hope you had some fun. I hope you learned some new strategies with me today, and I will meet you right back here next time. Bye-bye.